A sad day? Bad day? Maybe even a long overdue day? Whatever way you look at it, it has finally come, and Subaru is waving a teary goodbye to the WRX STI, the last in the line of fast Imprezas that stretches all the way back to late 1992. If ever a car caught the zeitgeist, this was it. As the World Rally Championship had recovered from the ban on Group B monsters like the Audi Quattro Sport, Ford RS200 and Lancia Delta S4, more showroom-based cars had taken a while to catch the enthusiasm of fans. By the early 1990s, there was a buzz back in the forests, and rally spectators were treated to some brilliant sights they could also get their hands on to drive themselves. Subaru's first effort in this direction was based on the legacy, and it proved extremely useful in the hands of Carlos Sainz, Richard Burns and, of course, Colin McRae. The legacy gave McRae his first WRC victory, so it was down to Carlos Sainz to give the 1994 Impreza WRC its maiden win. That year coincided with the Japanese firm deploying its Subaru Technica International division to take its performance cars to the next level. With the letters STI now firmly associated with the Impreza, it turned into a dream year in 1995 as Colin McRae lifted the World Drivers' title and Subaru lifted the manufacturer's gong, setting up a hat-trick for the following 2 years. The key point in all of this is that Subaru won on Sunday and sold on Monday. And boy did they sell. In the UK, 35% of all Subaru sales were made up of the Impreza Turbo 2000 in saloon and sport hatch shapes. Not even Volkswagen could claim that sort of market penetration with its Golf GTI. Even more impressive, Subaru achieved this when Mitsubishi was also hot on its heels with the various Lancer Evolution models. We couldn't get enough of these cars, and it seemed there was a symbiotic relationship between them and the popularity of rallying. Then, it all started to slow down. Colin McRae moved drives to Ford and then Citroën, the cars became more sophisticated, and Sebastian Loeb assumed the dominance of the sport that made it all too predictable for many. Not Loeb's fault, his genius was so overpowering, but it didn't make for much of a rally when it was a race for second spot. Worse was to come when Subaru launched replacements for the original Impreza that were less than easy on the eye. Quick facelifts mitigated this to some extent, but the magic was gone. Our love affair with the Impreza had fizzled out, and with that so did sales. Those figures failed to recover when Subaru introduced the hatchback model in 2007. It continued with rallying as a means to promote the car, but it just wasn't the same. Not even Ken Block's hooligan antics could muster much interest in this dumpy-looking machine. What seemed like an ignominious end for the fast Impreza was staved off with the launch of a new four-door saloon WRX STI in 2010, but by then it was too little too late. The world had moved on, hot hatches were back in favor, and a new breed of affordable performance cars with premium badges from Porsche, BMW, Audi and Mercedes had all become well established. And now we find ourselves here, with Subaru's announcement this week that they will be saying farewell to this brand icon and marking the end of Subaru's heritage in the UK with the release of 150 WRX STI Final Edition models. The swansong WRX STI Final Edition bows out as more of a lament than a furious raging against the inevitable. Sure, 150 die-hard fans will snap them up and enjoy this car's rarity and performance. The rest of us? We'll just carry on as normal, because if we fancy a ruckus all-wheel drive hatch with the pace to upset supercar drivers, we're not short on options. A quick scan of the market shows we are blessed with the Audi S3 and RS3, Ford Focus RS, Mercedes A45 AMG and Volkswagen Golf R. All of these can be leased at very reasonable monthly rates, which puts them at an advantage over the Subaru, which has proven to be more expensive to rent and run than its rivals. But this leads us to ask the question, if these cars carry on finding favor with drivers, how come the Subaru missed the boat when it had once dominated the market it created? The simple answer is the Impreza and its derivatives just didn't move with the times. Having caught the wave of popular imagination in the mid-1990s with help from McRae, Burns, Sainz and Peter Solberg, the Japanese firm didn't keep with the shifting demands of buyers. While many loved the rawness of the cars, as they grew up and needed more from the cars, Subaru didn't grow with them. Nor did Subaru bother to launch a diesel engine in any of its cars when the market was shifting in this direction throughout the early 2000s. Buyers may have wanted an STI, but family and work often meant a more mundane engine choice was necessary, and Subaru was way too late to that party. So sales floundered, the image waned, and, when old Imprezas became cheap enough, they fell into the less-than-caring hands of boy racers. Bang! The image and luster of these cars was gone for good. The only bright spot on the horizon for the superbly compact high-performance cars is they are now regarded as modern classics, and prices are on the up for unmolested examples. They're also still easy enough to live with and maintain that you can use them every day as an alternative to a modern car. Mind you, most owners now mollycoddle them and wisely choose a new car for daily duties. The irony is that many of these new lease cars are the likes of the aforementioned Focus RS, Golf and S3 that Subaru did so much to bring about in the first place. That's not a bad legacy to leave behind, so we should be glad the Subaru Impreza Turbo 2000, WRX and STI models existed in the first place. Gone soon but never forgotten, Subaru has hinted some of that STI DNA will be carried forward into new models, so there's hope for the future.
There's a sweet spot in the crowded crossover class reserved for the Subaru Crosstrek. It's a charming, butch little thing, with standard all-wheel drive, lots of room inside, and a "who cares if it gets dirty" attitude. Rather than rethink the Crosstrek's existence, Subaru has instead embraced its niche status for its 2018 model year refresh. It's got the same attitude, but has improvements in key areas that make it more pleasant to drive and nicer to use day to day. Better to live with. Because the 2018 Crosstrek is essentially a lifted version of the redesigned Impreza, it benefits from all the same improvements and overall refinement. That means it's quieter inside, with better materials used throughout the cabin. It's no superstar of comfort or luxury, maybe class average at best. But if you've spent a lot of time in the old Crosstrek, you'll definitely notice, and appreciate, the big interior upgrade. Better to drive, mostly. The Crosstrek rides on a completely new architecture, which pays dividends in the ride and handling department. Even on the smaller 17-inch wheels, the Crosstrek is composed in the corners, with responsive steering that's quick to respond and ride in overall action. On the highway, the Crosstrek rides with planted confidence, and even on rough pavement, or dirt roads, where the subby loves to play, the high-riding Impreza is solid and stable. And fun to slide around a gravely corner. The powertrain itself, however, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Go on, get the stick. Most buyers will opt for the continuously variable transmission, but those who want to shift for themselves aren't out of luck. In fact, Subaru offers the 6-speed manual transmission on both the base model and the volume premium trim seen here. In other words, you don't have to sacrifice niceties like heated seats, auto headlights, and a touchscreen infotainment system if you want to roll your own gears. Of course, if you want to get Subaru's EyeSight suite of safety tech, you're locked into the CVT experience. Priced right. Not only does this 2.0i premium model come nicely equipped, it does so at a very reasonable price point. As tested, this Crosstrek costs $23,510, which feels like a total bargain. A smaller, dumpier looking, similarly equipped Chevy Trax costs a few grand more. gutless. Good as a Crosstrek is from a ride and handling perspective, its engine is a weak point. Subaru's 2.0-liter naturally aspirated Boxer 4 is found under hood, with 152 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque. Below about 3,000 RPMs, this thing struggles, and on several uphill climbs, I found myself downshifting a gear or two just to eke out some oomph. For a vehicle that will spend a majority of its life running around cities and traversing highways and country roads, more low-end power would be great. You know, a Crosstrek WRX sure sounds fun. Is this the new one? Well, I don't think the 2018 Crosstrek looks bad. It doesn't really look new either. If you told me this was a 2013 model, I'd believe you. If you want a crossover with fresh, modern styling, you'll need to look elsewhere.